Welcome to the 96th Annual Convocation of St. Stephen's College.
Hello, and welcome to the 2020 Convocation of St. Stephen's College. I am Fred Tappenden, the Principal and Dean of St. Stephen's. We are so delighted that you have gathered with us to celebrate this auspicious and joyful occasion. It goes without saying that our 96th convocation is unlike any other in the college's history. This is our first virtual convocation, and as such we find ourselves gathered in the most curious of ways. Gathered together, a phrase that takes new meaning in our world today. We are not so much gathered as we are scattered in many different places. Though I and others in this ceremony are together here on the St. Stephen's College campus, you, our graduands, together with your family and loved ones, are scattered in many different places across Canada. Much to our disappointment, the pandemic prevents us at this time from joining together in person to celebrate your accomplishments. We at the college feel this disappointment, as I know many of you feel it as well. It is our strong hope that once the pandemic abates, we can come together on campus to recognize your accomplishments and to celebrate together. At present, though we are scattered, we nevertheless join our hearts together with excitement and in much celebration, lifting you, our graduands, up to recognize not only your accomplishments over the past several years, but also the great works of caring, healing, and ministry that await you in your careers ahead. Over the course of this next hour, our program will feature many familiar faces from around the college. Our ceremony will begin with words of invocation and welcome from Dr. Kay Neufeld, Chair of our Academic Senate, and a welcome from the Board of Governors by Interim Board Chair, Mr. Larry Derkach. Our convocation address will be delivered by the Reverend Dr. Kristine Lund, who is a past faculty member of the college and a longstanding friend of our Psychotherapy and Spirituality program. And of course, our department chairs will present each graduand to our Co-Chancellors Colm and Lynda Carroll, who in turn will confer each degree, diploma, and certificate. Toward the end of our ceremony, members of the St. Stephen's Board, Senate, program committees, and faculty will bring notes of congratulations to our graduands from around the college. We are thankful also to Mr. Tyson Kerr for providing original jazz compositions for our enjoyment. Now, while we all are watching this ceremony, I invite you to visit the St. Stephen's College website, where we have published a series of profiles that highlight many of this year's graduating students. Though we all are scattered in many different places, these online profiles will allow you to interact with and to learn more about the many of the students graduating today. Again, a very warm welcome to our 96th Convocation of St. Stephen's College. Let us begin our time together by joining in song to sing the national anthem with accompaniment by Tyson Kerr.
On behalf of the Academic Senate, welcome to the 96th Convocation of St. Stephen's College. This is a celebration of the completion of many years of study and practice for the graduating class of 2020. Though we are all scattered in many different places, we honor the land on which the college is situated, on which many of our students have studied for the past several years. We acknowledge that the college is situated on sacred lands. The territory known as Treaty 6 is a traditional meeting ground, gathering place, and traveling route of many Indigenous people. We acknowledge also that our graduands and their loved ones gather in different places, including the lands of Treaty 6, Treaty 7, and many other traditional and unceded territories. We acknowledge all the many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit whose footsteps have marked these lands for centuries. We gather virtually to observe the ancient rituals and rites of Convocation. We are nourished by these traditions and by our ongoing search for transformation. The tradition of Convocation lifts our minds and encourages our hearts. We celebrate with you, graduands, as we acknowledge both the achievements that have led you to this place and the great things that you will undertake from this moment forward. As we gather for Convocation, may all meaningful customs be celebrated today for the good of all people who strive for justice and wisdom and who express compassion.
Good day. My name is Larry Durkach, and I have the honor and privilege of being the Interim Chair of the Board of Governors. Along with our eminent Co-Chancellors, and on behalf of the Board, I welcome you with the most heartfelt of welcomes to this first ever electronically connected convocation. Welcome to graduands, distinguished guests, friends and family, faculty and staff, and all others who find yourselves in the warm embrace of the St. Stephen's College community. A special welcome to the Reverend Dr. Kristine Lund, a longtime friend of St. Stephen's, with us to deliver the Convocation address. The pandemic has shaped many things this year, including the date and method of this convocation, but it has not stopped St. Stephen's from continuing in our work. Like other institutions, we moved our coursework online, but the fact that we had already moved towards online learning enabled us to make the transition smoothly, albeit not without a lot of work, and thank you to the dedicated extra effort of our faculty and staff in making this happen. One happy result is that traveling to campus is no longer a barrier, and so enrollment has increased significantly. More than a year ago, we embarked on a deep review of our vision, mission, and values statement, and we thought we might be finished by now. It's turned out to be a profound and lengthy exercise. These are, after all, not just words on a page, but a meticulous articulation of who we are, what we stand for, what we seek to achieve. And thus, the task merits the time we have taken for consultation and deliberation. We hope to share that statement with the St. Stephen's College community soon. We have always been open to many kinds of diversity. But this year, we began in earnest to explicitly embrace the challenge of exploring what equity, diversity, and inclusion really mean for St. Stephen's College. We know we must reach beyond just participating in the dialogue that has been so visible in the public eye, and be truly open to living out a commitment to fostering equity, diversity, and inclusivity in every aspect of St. Stephen's community life. That means re-examining each structure and each practice and being open to being disturbed, even disrupted, by the things that we have become accustomed to. It will be unsettling, but necessary for us to authentically live into our vision and values. We've continued to make strides in strengthening organizational resiliency through our policies, our structures, and our practices. Not as exciting, perhaps, as our mission-focused activities, but nevertheless necessary to ensure a sound foundation for pursuing our mission. We are ever grateful to all of you who support St. Stephen's with your donations. Thank you. There may seem to be some irony in celebrating our usual ancient rites and ceremony and pageantry, which have come to us from a time long before the internet, for heaven's sakes, even from before electrically powered sound amplification, and carrying it out with each of us in front of a computer or a mobile phone in our own living room or bedroom or office. But is it really ironic? What do these rites represent? Indeed, St. Stephen's is rooted in the enduring values and principles of educating the whole person for meaningful, impactful engagement with the community, applying the highest standards of academic excellence. Those things have not changed. And using our creativity boldly to be relevant and accessible is also an enduring value, which drives us to be present in whatever media and methods are right for whatever time we are in. So here we are, rooted in the past and very present in the present, celebrating with hallowed traditions, persons and achievements that are fresh and brave and forward-looking. And so, in this context, I turn to you, who will be presenting yourselves on our virtual stage to be formally acknowledged for having achieved the high standards set for the degrees and certificates you have earned. As you graduate in these unusual times, you go forth into a world that is ever-changing and full of new challenges. It demands that you never cease your learning journey and that you continue to live and practice your vocations with creativity and a passion to stay relevant and responsive. And I have no doubt you will. While we've not had the usual presentations of capstones and theses this year, your professors have shared with the board glimpses of your work. Your great variety of backgrounds and courses of study have brought an impressive richness to your academic achievements. You have immersed your whole selves into philosophical and theological questions and reflected deeply on your research and your practice. You continue your journeys in the communities you served better equipped to make a difference with your unique offerings. Congratulations to each and all of you. And now, as we proceed in this contemporary fashion with the ancient rites of convocation, may you be imbued with peace and love. Let this community bind us all together in the great endeavor to serve for the benefit of all people.
We are delighted today to welcome our convocation speaker, the Reverend Dr. Kristine Lund. Dr. Lund joins us today from Kitchener-Waterloo, Ontario, where she is Professor of Psychotherapy and Spiritual Care at Martin Luther University College on the campus of Wilfrid Laurier University. Dr. Lund is a registered psychotherapist in the province of Ontario, and she is also certified as a specialist and teaching supervisor in pastoral counseling education with the Canadian Association for Spiritual Care. Prior to moving to Ontario in 2005, Dr. Lund spent 7 years at St. Stephen's College, where she was a founding faculty member of the program known today as the Master of Psychotherapy and Spirituality. As a former faculty member and long-standing friend of St. Stephen's College, it is so wonderful to welcome Dr. Lund back to deliver this year's Convocation address.
Co-Chancellors Colm and Lynda O'Carroll, Chair of Academic Senate Kay Neufeld, Interim Chair of the Board Larry Durkash, honored guests, and of course graduands and your family. It is my great pleasure to be able to join you through the medium of technology to offer a few words at St. Stephen's Convocation this year. I speak to you today from Martin Luther University College that is located on the Haldimand Tract, the traditional territory of the neutral Anishinaabe and Haudenosaunee peoples. I acknowledge these traditional territories as a way to be reminded of the original inhabitants of this land and to commit to working towards a more just relationship with our First Peoples. Particularly in this global pandemic, it is very important for us to listen and pay attention to their ancient wisdom. I'm very glad that Convocation can happen over Zoom and that technology supports our gathering together, because it is very important for us to mark your accomplishment. And ritual provides us the structure to be able to do just that. I invite you to take a moment just to sit and breathe and notice what you're feeling inside. And then I invite you to think back to that first class. What were you feeling when you went to that first class? Were you nervous? Were you excited? Were you afraid? Were you hopeful? Maybe all of the above, maybe some other feelings. And what are you noticing about what's happening inside now? How have you been changed by your time at St. Steve's? Do you feel a little more confident? Do you feel a little more in yourself? Are you aware of being more knowledgeable? And maybe a number of other things as well. I'd also ask those of you who are friends and family members, what are the changes that you've noticed? And if you've noticed changes, have you had opportunity to share them with your graduate? And if you haven't, I would encourage you to do so, because I suspect they will find that quite interesting, what you've witnessed about their change and growth during their time at St. Steve's. So graduates, you've now completed your program and you become members of the esteemed community that is the alumni of St. Stephen's College. Let yourself recognize what an accomplishment this is. I suspect you are still recognizing it because it hasn't been that long since you were doing all the reading, writing the papers, preparing for presentations, sitting in Zoom meetings, completing your placements, responding to the stress of the pandemic, managing the rest of your life, and everything else that was going on during your program. And yet you did it. You did it. Good for you. It's also important to recognize and thank all of those people in your network who have supported you, not just during the program, but everyone who got you this far. So thank you to friends and family members, former teachers and mentors, coaches, faith community leaders, professional colleagues, and anyone who has been important for you to arrive at today. It is good to acknowledge them and to be grateful. The theme for Convocation this year, Seeing with 2020 Vision, seems very appropriate given our current context. I often hear people talking about 2020 being unprecedented, and in many ways this is true because in my lifetime I've never experienced a global pandemic before, and I would expect that that's true for most of us. And so it would be natural for us to be longing for the good old days, the pre-pandemic days. Except that the pandemic has exposed the reality that the good old days were only good for some. The pandemic is creating opportunities for us to see the world differently, whether it's paying attention to the great economic disparities between the few that are rich and the many that are poor in our world, or issues of race through the Black Lives Movement, or issues raised by the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, the report on missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls, or in attending to the impact that we as humans have had on our natural environment. The novel coronavirus is exposing some stark realities in our world, which previously have been much easier to ignore for those of us in positions of privilege. I was 45 years old before I got my first pair of glasses. I was born with good vision and really didn't have to address any issues around vision until the reality of aging began to set in. So I remember going for that first eye test and the professional going into significant detail about the reality of aging on my eyes, changing focal lengths, etc., as if more information was going to help me accept my current reality. Then I took my prescription and ordered the glasses with the expectation that if the glasses were going to return my vision to 2020, then I would be able to see the world as I had previously seen it. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm incredibly grateful for my glasses, and increasingly so as I continue to age and even need them more. But the glasses did not return my vision to what it had been before I needed it. And that was a hard thing to accept at the beginning, but it was the reality that I needed to accept. And I needed to accept it to be able to see also the opportunities that glasses provided me. So yes, we are living in an unprecedented time. It is a time of great uncertainty. It is also an opportunity to see the world differently. Has your degree prepared you for everything you will face now in this uncertain world? Absolutely not. However, my hope is that the critical thinking skills you have refined, the personal and professional development that has occurred, the maturing of your beliefs, the skills that you have increased, and so much more that you have gained during your time at St. Stephen's College will be a rich resource for you as you graduate. You will see the world differently now because of your time at St. Stephen's College. It will be that you've been given new lenses in a way that you can't go back to the way you saw the world before you began your program. Your vision has been changed by your time at St. Stephen's. In my development as a psychotherapist, a crucial part of my learning was becoming more comfortable with letting go of certainty. This was a real challenge for me at the beginning, where I wanted to drive the therapeutic process in the way that I felt was best for the client, and frankly, in reality, it kept me more comfortable. But after a number of opportunities to see how that wasn't really helpful for the client, because no change and growth was really occurring, and with the support of some very good supervision, I began to risk sitting in my own uncomfortableness with uncertainty, and also sitting with the uncertainty of the client and supporting them to be with their uncertainty as well. And to my great surprise, things started to happen. The client began to rely more on their knowing and not look to me so much for the answers. Their voice was strengthened. They began to see new opportunities. They began to see the resources and strengths that they already had and began to adapt them to the new realities that were occurring in their life. That's just to name a few things that happened. But a critical part of my education, and I hope it's been part of yours as well, and your supervised placements, was learning to become more comfortable with uncertainty. Because as you begin your career, or as you continue your career, your ability to be with uncertainty and with the uncertainty of others will be crucial, particularly as we live in the midst of this pandemic, and as your vision has been changed through this program. Sometimes in the face of all the uncertainty and the enormous challenges that we face as Canadians and in our world, we can feel pretty small. I mean, what can I do as one person? As I was beginning to think about what I was going to say to you today, I thought, how big is this coronavirus anyways? And so I looked it up. Do you know it's 125 nanometers? Do you know what a nanometer is? I didn't know that either. A nanometer is 1/billionth of a meter. Can you imagine how small that is? I can't. But the coronavirus is 125 billionth of a meter. So it's incredibly small and yet powerful to disrupt our world in so many ways. In some ways, the disruption has been utterly devastating. And in other ways, it's opening our eyes to the ways in which our world needs to change and is creating opportunities and feeding hope that our world could be different. There are many examples in our natural world where small things result in big things. For example, think of the California redwood trees. I love trees. And do you know that the seed of a California redwood tree is only the size of a tomato seed? But a seed the size of a tomato seed will result in a tree that's 60 to 70 meters high. And those that, over exceed that can be 100 meters tall. Out of the size of a tomato seed can come a tree that's 100 meters tall. And another really interesting fact about trees is that many trees underneath the soil interlink their roots. And that helps them stand tall against the forces of the wind and nature that could topple them over. Isn't that interesting how they do that? I think that's a great lesson for us. So that being one person in the face of all that is facing us in the world can seem utterly overwhelming. And yet, when we join with others, we're able to make big differences. Small things result in big change. So as you graduate, I encourage you to be open to the opportunities that are presenting themselves. You have tremendous gifts and abilities to be with others who are struggling during this time. But more than that, use what you have learned and experienced at St. Stephen's to respond to your changed vision, your 2020 vision that's different now. Garner up your courage and create opportunities. Listen to the wisdom of the coronavirus that's opening our eyes to the disparities in the world and demanding that we change. Seek the wisdom of creation, the wisdom of our indigenous elders and other marginalized people who are asking us to pay attention to the inequities of our world. Notice how we're impacting creation and seek to make a difference. Join with others to be supported and to support these kinds of changes that are so needed in our world at this time. We can ask these challenging questions and take big actions so as to create more just institutions, communities, and world. And these will be the actions that will create the next normal, a normal that will continue to evolve and change. So in closing, I'd like to leave you with a few words from the book Liturgies from Below, Praying with Peoples at the End of the World. May life surprise you every day with its new dawn where hope remains present. May love nurture your life with what is necessary to strengthen your desire to live. And may peace, which is the fruit of justice, accompany you today and all the days of your life. Congratulations on the completion of your program and best wishes.
Thank you, Dr. Lund, for your thoughtful, engaging, and challenging words. At this time, it is my great pleasure to invite Mr. Tyson Kerr to perform an original composition for us today. Tyson is an award-winning Edmonton-based composer, arranger, and multi-instrumentalist. He is involved in numerous projects. He is the pianist and composer for the Western Canadian Music Award-nominated jazz quintet, the Writers Guild. He is the music director and singer for the acclaimed vocal group 6 Minute Warning. He is the organist for St. Paul's United Church here in Edmonton. And he is the accordionist and composer for his quirky improvising folk quartet, Myrtle's Turtle. Tyson has composed and arranged music for many different contexts, including Edmonton Fringe productions, various TED Talks, YouTube series, and podcasts, and a number of choirs, including the acclaimed Oran Chamber Choir. Please join me in welcoming Tyson Kerr. We will now confer the degrees, diplomas, and certificates upon our graduating students. Graduands will be presented by order of their degree program, beginning first with the postmaster's diploma, followed by master's degrees, and finally graduate certificates. Each graduand will be presented to our co-chancellors by the chair of their program, and the co-chancellors will in turn confer each degree, diploma, or certificate. I invite everyone attending today's virtual convocation to follow along on the St. Stephen's website, where you can see pictures and bios of many of this year's graduating students.
Eminent Chancellors, I present to you Patricia Ann Prima, who, having satisfied the requirements as set forth by St. Stephen's College, is entitled to receive the Postmaster's Art Therapy Diploma and to share in the rights, privileges, and responsibilities which pertain to that diploma.
By virtue of the authority vested in St. Stephen's College by the Province of Alberta, and with the consent of the Academic Senate of the College, I grant the student just named the Postmaster's Art Therapy Diploma.
Eminent Chancellors, I present to you Angela Joy Davis, Stacy Rochelle Geisen, Glenda Josephine Sartore, and Pamela Smith, who, having satisfied the requirements as set forth by St. Stephen's College, are entitled to be admitted to the degree Master of Psychotherapy and Spirituality, and to share in the rights, privileges, and responsibilities which pertain to that degree.
By virtue of the authority vested in St. Stephen's College by the Province of Alberta, and with the consent of the Academic Senate of the College, I admit the students just named to the degree Master of Psychotherapy and Spirituality.
Eminent Chancellors, I present to you Michaela Malley DeVries, Samantha Louise Diminuto, Cheryl Ann Christine Horn, Anne-Marieke Jongleen, Mary Margaret Meyer, Swai Robin Tsoi, and Fan Zhang, who, having satisfied the requirements as set forth by St. Stephen's College, are entitled to be admitted to the degree Master of Psychotherapy and Spirituality, Art Therapy Specialization, and to share in the rights, privileges, and responsibilities which pertain to that degree.
By virtue of the authority vested in St. Stephen's College by the Province of Alberta, and with the consent of the Academic Senate of the College, I admit the students just named to the degree Master of Psychotherapy and Spirituality, Art Therapy Specialization.
Eminent Chancellors, I present to you Nicholas Onischuk and Roxanne Tutusis, who, having satisfied the requirements as set forth by St. Stephen's College, are entitled to receive the graduate certificate in spiritually informed psychotherapy.
By virtue of the authority vested in St. Stephen's College by the Province of Alberta, and with the consent of the Academic Senate of the College, I grant the students just named the Graduate Certificate in Spiritually Informed Psychotherapy.
Eminent Chancellors, I present to you David John Faber, who, having satisfied the requirements as set forth by St. Stephen's College, is entitled to receive the Graduate Certificate in Theological Studies.
By virtue of the authority vested in St. Stephen's College by the Province of Alberta, and with the consent of the Academic Senate of the College, I grant the student just named the Graduate Certificate in Theological Studies.
Hello everyone, I'm sure today will be one of the many proud, successful moments for you, your loved ones, and your family. Congratulations on your well-deserved success and happy graduation day. Celebrate in style.
Congratulations and best wishes for your future.
You did it.
Congratulations on completing your master's degree.
These times remind us that the future is never certain, but your achievement is a great predictor of your success in helping to create a bright future. Congratulations.
Hello, graduates. Congratulations to you. All the best to you in all endeavors.
Dear graduates, congratulations and best wishes for your accomplishments.
Congratulations to each of you. May you go out from here to make the world a better place, a world filled with peace and compassion.
Congratulations. All the best on your continuing journey.
Congratulations, graduates. Best of luck on your next adventure.
Congratulations. You have achieved something that is remarkable, even at the best of times. But given the added challenges of this year, it is even more impressive that you find yourself at this milestone now. Best wishes as you continue your journey and take all of your new learning and growth out into the world.
Congratulations on this wonderful accomplishment. I wish you well and hope you stay in touch with the college.
Congratulations! Congratulations and best wishes to all of you graduates this year.
May you make a positive difference within your spheres of influence. Go forth with complete confidence. That's my congratulatory sentence.
Congratulations! We all celebrate with you.
Congratulations, graduates. All of us at the college are so excited for you and we celebrate with you. We delight in where you've been and we look forward with such anticipation for where you are going.
Congratulations, St. Stephen's graduates. Many of you I've worked with personally and closely along this journey, and I'm so pleased to see you here today. Congratulations. Take a moment to enjoy, rest and relax and rejuvenate after this long journey. Be well.
Congratulations. Well done, graduates. You've done very well. As a close, I would like to read this short passage from John O'Donoghue. The waves of possibility breaking on the shores of dawn, the harvest of the past that awakes my hunger, and the furtherings this new day will bring. Congratulations, you are now facing a new day.
Congratulations, graduates. You've done it. Your journey at St. Stephen's is now complete. Or perhaps now it enters a new chapter. You no longer are students of the college, rather you are alumnae and alumni. And as such, you step into a rich tradition of healing and social engagement. Each of you came to St. Stephen's College as students with high expectations and dreams for the future. I trust that as you engaged in your studies, these expectations and dreams were challenged, that they were deepened, and that they expanded through the course of your education. I am sure there were many moments of excitement and insight, those proverbial aha moments when your learning seemed to align into a coherent whole. But I am also sure that there were moments of frustration and doubt, moments of discouragement, moments when the burden of study seemed too large and the challenge of continuing on seemed too great. But as is often said, the darkness is greatest just before the dawn. And here you all are today, standing in the bright light of your achievements, equipped with the knowledge and the skills and the self-assessment needed to go out into the world and to change it for the better. Well done. Today, we, the faculty and staff, board and senate, program committees, everyone in the St. Stephen's College community stands with you, and we celebrate with you. Today, you can stand proudly in the recognition of your accomplishments. And so I ask graduates, what's next? What's next? As our virtual convocation draws to a close, I want to leave you with a challenge as you step into the next leg of your life's journey. My challenge to you is this: never be satisfied. Never be satisfied. As alumnae and alumni of St. Stephen's College, each of you enter into a rich community of learners and leaders and practitioners who have gone out from their studies at St. Stephen's and made measurable and direct impacts upon the communities and organizations in which they live and work. I could point to many examples, but let me touch on two in particular. Two examples where alumni and alumnae of St. Stephen's refuse to be satisfied with the status quo, but rather work tirelessly and with much dedication to bring about transformation and change in our world. My first example is the field of spiritual care in health contexts, where St. Stephen's is leading the way in Alberta. Of the 7 supervisors who oversee spiritual care across the province's many hospitals, 5 of them either have Doctor of Ministry degrees from St. Stephen's or have participated in doctoral studies at the college, not to mention several other St. Stephen's individuals and alumni and alumnae who also contribute provincial leadership in this field of spiritual care in health contexts. What this means is that when you or I or a loved one is in the hospital and we are there in a state that is most vulnerable and most delicate, and we reach out for care not only of our body but also care for our soul, the care that we receive at the Grey Nuns or at the Alec or Foothills or Rocky View is care that is in some way shaped by and informed by the faculty and students, the alumnae and the alumni of St. Stephen's College. Graduates, never be satisfied. There's simply too much need and too much work to be done in our world. My second example is that St. Stephen's grads are also playing a leading role in Alberta's mental health field. Over the past decade, it was St. Stephen's alumni and alumnae who led the way in advocating for and working toward provincial legislation to regulate the field of counseling therapy. Almost 2 years ago, that legislation was passed just across the river from where I stand today. And when the new College of Counseling Therapy of Alberta is eventually proclaimed, it will be because St. Stephen's alumni and alumnae had the will, the determination, the dedication, the lack of satisfaction with the status quo, to instead go out and to create better public access to better mental health care services. Graduands, never be satisfied. There's simply too much work and too much need in our world today. You graduands who convocate today, you are the newest chapter in the history of this 112-year-old project called St. Stephen's. You stand in a rich tradition of learning and applied action that is oriented towards spiritual and mental wellness. As I've had the pleasure to review your student files, to see the breadth of your coursework and training in which you have engaged, and to hear about the research that many of you conducted in your capstone and thesis projects, I am so optimistic not only for the future of St. Stephen's College, but especially for the future of the public good wherever each of you applies yourselves. I'm excited to see what contributions you will make to the worlds and spheres in which you live and work. I'm excited to see how you take your education from St. Stephen's and apply it in ways that bring transformation and healing to the brokenness of our world. Graduands, my best wishes and thoughts are with you all. And always remember and always know that you will have, and that you do have, a home and a community here at St. Stephen's. And with that, I want to close our time together with a blessing. This is a blessing inspired by and drawing upon a Jewish blessing from the Talmud. It is a blessing for all of our paths, that they may be ever lit and ever full as we journey on from this moment of celebration. May the divine light that dwells in each one of us cause love, humanity, peace, and friendship to dwell in our midst. May the divine light that dwells in each one of us widen our boundaries through disciplines, populate our goals with hope and with future, appoint us a share of the light's warmth and illumination, direct us in the world through good companions and good impulses. And may the divine light that dwells in each one of us cause us to rise in the morning and find our hearts waiting to seek truth. Thank you, congratulations, and have a wonderful day.